I'm Charles Aite. Let's start with this story regarding the oil and gas industry. A former chief executive officer for the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Dr. Amos Oforikwa, is calling for a review of Ghana's oil production sharing agreement. According to him, the country's current contractual arrangement for petroleum exploration serves as a bane to the development of the sector and the economy at large. He spoke to Joy Business.
At the launch of his book dubbed My Footprint in Ghana's Black Gold, Dr. Oforikwa unraveled the challenges the country went through before discovering oil in 2007. He explained that some of his colleagues met their untimely death in the quest to search for offshore oil. He appealed for a collaboration between stakeholders in the sector to review the oil production sharing agreement.
I wanted to write for the sake of those. Also, our friends who passed away before our efforts yielded fruits in terms of discovery. For the sake of those people, I thought that something must be written for posterity. I think we should go back to the production sharing. We need to review, personally, I believe that we need to review the agreement and go back to the production sharing agreement, because what we're getting is simply not fair. For the effort that we put in, it's not fair. We could do a lot better.
He further indicated that the prospect for Ghana's oil production is still positive both onshore and offshore, hence the need to be resolute as a country with Earth agreement in the sector.
We also looked at the Voltairean Basin. The Voltairean Basin stretches from about Nkoko all the way to Daboya. In the Daboya area, we have salt, which is usually associated with oil. And also, the Romanians drilled water wells back in the 1960s, and the water usually had oil floating on it. We haven't explored, well, GMPC has done some work in there. We need to follow it, because potentially we have onshore oil on the Voltairean Basin. We have potential for onshore oil as well.
In June 2007, GNPC, together with its partners in the Jubilee Field, Tallow Oil and Cosmos Energy, announced the discovery of oil offshore Ghana. Tallow Oil expressed that the oil discovered offshore Ghana is one of the biggest oil finds in Africa in recent times.
Now, throughout COVID-19, we have seen that having a strong organizational safety and health system, which includes meaningful participation of government, employers, workers, public health actors, and all relevant parties at the national and enterprise level, has been very crucial in protecting working environment and safeguarding the safety and health of workers. Through effective social dialogue, government and social partners actively participate in all phases of OSH decision-making processes. Now, this is important for the development and revision of this particular policy and regulatory frameworks to address persistent and new OSH challenges to actual application of workplace level. Social dialogue not only contributes to improving these policies, but it also helps with essential build-up of ownership and commitment, easing the way for the rapid, more effective implementation. Well, what exactly do I mean? Today, we mark World Day for Safety and Health at Work. And for that, we explore the topic of participation and social dialogue in creating a positive safety and health culture, especially at our workplaces. Joining us to discuss via Zoom, Emmeline Date, a human resource expert. She joined via phone, actually. And of course, from Aberdeen in Scotland, we shall be joined via Zoom by health and safety expert Edward Deborah. I want to start off with you, Edward. What describes a good and bad health and safety culture of an organization, of a work environment?
Hi, so good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. Thank you so much for having me. When we talk about good health and safety practice, what it actually means is that it's an occasion where employees can actually go to work and come back in one piece, not go to work and come back in pieces. Then again, you also realize that it endures to the benefit of organizations that practice this. Employees will be motivated, accidents will be reduced, people will be happy at their workplaces, there will not be any injuries and the like at the workplaces. Those ones are key ingredients that account for proper health and safety practice in an organization.
And of course, I believe we're joined by Emmeline Dati, an HR expert. Emmeline, how do you assess health and safety, regulations at our offices today? Is it getting worse? Is it getting better, especially when we have shifted away from COVID? Emmeline, if you could hear me, as an HR expert, I want to find your thoughts on the assessment of health and safety at our offices today. I'm afraid we're having issues connecting with Emmeline. But of course, Edward, you have the strong belief that government has a role to play in promoting good health and safety culture in the country. How exactly?
Right, so government, as we all know, is the largest employer in the country. And as it stands, employers are supposed to sort of create a safe place of work, safe people, and safe processes to sort of support the effort at ensuring proper health and safety is the workplace. So government having such responsibility, they also have to put in procedures and processes that would sort of support the agenda to ensure this is done. They could do that by policy direction. There is an OSH bill that I know is sitting in Parliament right now. They can do that by setting that piece, get it signed off, get it passed into law. Then we have legal basis for prioritizing this. In regulations, compliance, and stuff like that, government are championing all that. So that said, if they are able to comply to the latter and ensure that players within the industry are also following the dictates of the licensing that they get, we surely will be able to arrive at creating that better workplace for everybody. The goal is everybody wants to leave their homes, get to work, and get back home safely. Nobody wants to get to work and get injured, but that is the case. A lot of people are dying by the day because of some of these, I would say, negligence. So if government decides to walk the talk, then we know that we are going to have the tone set for the dialogue to commence and things will change.
Indeed, but of course, as we mark World, health and safety at the workplace, we're not just focused on the safety, but we're also very much cautious about the health. The health being mental health specifically comes with matters regarding workplace politics, issues regarding with salary management, human resource management. And Emmeline, if you could hear me once again, you're an HR expert. You deal with organizations along these lines. How do you measure our performance in Ghana as compared to elsewhere around the world? Edward, if you could take that question up. Of course, you have been dealing with organizations not just in Ghana but around the world. And when we're talking about the health of workers at the workplace, when it comes to politics, either in the work environment, which is very much, of course, natural, matters regarding salaries and even human resource, talent acquisition and management, how do you place our assessment, our performance here in Ghana?
Hello? We have made some gains, but there's still a lot more to be done because some of the companies are well structured that they've got indoor policy where people can actually have grievances shared and also resolved. Other places, it's not like that. So we've made some gains, and I believe that there's still a lot more work to be done. HR practice in health and safety actually work in tandem because there can't be a successful health and safety in any organization if HR support is not there. At the point of recruitment, HR is supposed to spell out clearly what is expected of each employee that comes in. And health and safety should be part of the job description. That said, if that is done, clearly it helps. I must say we've made some gains. At least I know some companies in the country that are doing the right things, sending the right signals, and improving that culture of health and safety. Others still have a lot of learning to do. But like I said, if we get a bigger player, the government, to come in as the law, then it will make a lot of sense and it will ease the pressure that people have to go through in trying to bypass all these things towards ensuring proper health and safety at the workplace. So on the well-being bit, there are companies that allow sort of a lot of engagement for staff. They've created scenarios, they've created scenes so people can have some work-life balance. Said it helps people to sort of voice their grievances, have an avenue to get up those complaints addressed, and that puts them in a good place that support productivity.
All right.
But in a culture where things are bad, obviously you won't get good productivity. And what that means is that there will be a lot of dark times and bottom line will be affected.
Edward, let's bring in Emmeline. She's an HR expert. Emmeline, if you can hear me once again, I want to find out from you, our health experts, HR professionals actually, are they prioritizing salaries over health and safety of their workers from your perspective?
Sorry, if I got you, were you asking if we are prioritizing salaries over health and safety?
Based on your observation, do you think, or do you have this assessment that HR professionals across various working environments are not necessarily taking at heart the health and safety of their workers, rather prioritizing just salaries?
Oh, okay. So I would have loved to have had certain research information to tell you if it's a yes or a no. But then from what I've observed, it's a yes and a no, okay? We do have a fraternity of HR professionals, which I belong to, that do not only prioritize salaries in the sense that when we are speaking at the management meetings, you hear us giving certain justifications as to the reasons why we need to go beyond salaries, because we tell CEOs and other top executives that human resources management has actually evolved, excuse me, beyond just a paycheck. And that is because of the theory of motivation that says that money is not the highest motivational factor. Obviously, employees are tuned towards an employer who shows that they care. And research has it that any employee that's appreciated will do much more than the salary you are giving him or her. So I would say that it's a yes for the evolving HRs that exist. But yes, we do. I would not say that we still do not have HRs who are still yet to evolve, who are yet to leave, the olden days practice of human resources, who believe in a master-servant relationship, where they think that giving you your salary should be enough and nothing beyond that should be taken into priority. So that is what I want to say about your question right at this moment.
Indeed. Edward, what ways can management and employees dialogue in a bid to promote good safety and health culture at the workplace?
Also, interestingly, it is important to note that management obviously designed the policies for employees to follow. So in that designing of policies, they should have an open door policy where there will be regular engagement. We have something we call toolbox talks. Toolbox talks normally before any task starts in a typical health and safety setting. We talk about the risks that are prevalent within the job to be done and how we're going to mitigate those risks. Leadership can be part of this to ensure that the conversation involves them. But what then happens is, if you find the chief executive officer of, say, let's say you find president in a safety briefing, clearly he will give his comment. And with that, the employees at the time would know that president is also committed to the cause. Then that will change. Also, there has to be resource allocation. Management can dialogue more by showing the way, not just talking and leaving it there. Okay. We provide the resources for things to be done. When that is done, then it will be supported. Training as well is important. Leadership must allocate resources for training of staff. That is all part of the dialoguing. And then when issues happen, accidents, when they happen, leadership must be part of the investigation to show the way. When that happens, then employees will begin to feel that leadership is empathizing with them, and it will help change the narrative. Finally, it's also important that when accidents are investigated, leadership ensure recommendations are implemented. That way, employees will be sure that when it happens, leadership will show their face and they will be there committed with them throughout the process to drive the change that we need. So that is how dialoguing could happen.
Edward, Deborah, thank you for joining us. Let's end with Emmeline Date. At this point, based on your observations, especially as an HR expert, you cite the fact that there is little to no research when it comes to the health and safety of workers at the workplace. Is there the need for some legislation at this point, briefly?
I am very happy to actually answer this question because yesterday I was speaking to a client of mine who is an employee assistance program service provider. After a summit we had, the EAP summit, we did have a conversation as to how the labor law can embrace or include, the directives for employers to move beyond safety, which is physical safety, to emotional well-being. And I'm happy to announce that the meeting has actually started to upgrade the labor law to include the mental health safety of employees. So yes, things are being done from the legal perspective. We're thankful for that, and we are also thankful to mental health experts who are also raising the awareness for HR professionals to be champions of going beyond physical safety to emotional well-being safety in the organization. And this is actually a good cause for us, knowing so well how the COVID-19 pandemic has made it and emphasized that the emotions of its staff is very important for ensuring high productivity and high performance of any organization that wants to sustain and grow.
Indeed, we cannot sacrifice mental health for anything else. Melindante, grateful that I could join us. She's a human resource expert. Also grateful to Edward Deborah, a health and safety expert who joined us all the way from Aberdeen, Scotland. You're still watching The Marketplace with me, Charles Aite. Let's now look at something that really bites us hard here in Ghana. Indonesia recently shocked the world when it unexpectedly announced that it was planning to ban oil palm exports. Indonesia's president says that the move is to ensure that cooking oil in the domestic market becomes abundant and affordable. So he's protecting his market, in essence. Over here in Ghana and the rest of Africa, consumers are still very worried that such a move could greatly exacerbate food prices, as well as prices of other household essentials such as soaps. With an already battered sector, could Ghana succumb to this challenge? Salom Kwame is Executive Secretary of the Oil Palm Association, and he joins us to discuss. Salom, grateful that you could join us. I mean, it's quite obvious. When Indonesia bans the export of oil palm, there's definitely going to be a trickle-down effect here in Ghana and the rest of Africa. Do you feel that oil palm, in our country, is sufficient enough to meet domestic demand amid export ban by Indonesia?
Well, good afternoon to your viewers. I think the move by Indonesia will actually have a great impact on the sector, Ghana especially, because as it stands, Ghana is a net importer of crude palm oil, and Indonesia being the largest producer of CPO, and it will have a great impact on the sector, because Ghana, as it stands, at last year, we imported almost about 440,000 metric tons of CPO. So, and the move is going to affect most of our refineries, industries, some of the industry players. And as you said, prices of household items are going to be increased. And CPO, crude palm oil around the world, because of that move, has actually increased CPO, and that has been this increment. Though at some, our farmers at the upstream are quite happy, but the downstream are not very happy with the increment in the price of CPO on the world market due to Indonesia's announcement.
But Salom, I mean, what's happening to our sector? What's happening to the capacity of Ghana's oil palm industry to cushion against this impact?
Yeah, looking at Ghana's oil palm sector, it's a growing sector. As I'll put it, we have a lot of challenges, but with this announcement, we as a country, as a sector, we are not sufficient. We don't produce enough CPO to feed the local market.
And why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Because we have vast arable land. Previously, we had interactions with the president of the AGI, of whom, he's very confident that a sector as the palm oil industry is very viable, and that with the benchmark values being reversed, he is very optimistic of competitiveness within this industry. So having to hear this from you, help us appreciate the challenges as they come.
Yeah, that is true. The industry is very viable, has the potential to grow, even to meet local demands and even exports. But there are a few challenges. I heard in your statement there are arable lands. The lands are there, but they are not accessible for big-time plantation. We have now, as it stands, the sector, I can confidently say we have the technology to match that of Indonesia and Malaysia, because as it stands now, most of our mills are at par with their competitors in Malaysia. The problem we have now, or the challenge we have now, is the raw material base. Ghana, we don't have the raw material base. The lands are there, but they are not accessible. We have a lot of land, but it's not very accessible. It comes with a lot of challenges and a lot of issues as an investor coming into the oil palm sector to get land. As at now, even most of the old plantations are still in court over lands that they bought some years ago. They are still in court paying compensation, dragging issues in court, and thereby they are not able to expand. Let me give you an example. There is one of our major producers of crude palm oil in Ghana and a refinery. They had 9,000 hectares of land to cultivate. They've cultivated only 7,000. The rest of the 2,000 hectares is still in court. They are battling over it. But when they moved from Ghana to Nigeria, they had 60,000 hectares of land to cultivate. So Ghana, we have an issue. One of the main issues we have has to do with land. The second has to do with policy, government policy. For example, with the benchmark issue that you mentioned, the benchmark policy was one of the should I say, policies that really affected the sector. So this and other issues, the benchmark, when we are able to take care of or resolve issues with land, and we are able to put down or implement the right policies, the oil palm sector in Ghana will thrive.
But in the meantime, we're going to be experiencing the impact of Indonesia on our market. Salam Kwame, we're grateful that you could join us. He's Executive Secretary of the Oil Palm Association. Well, a digital currency researcher is promoting the use of decentralized financial transactions such as cryptocurrency in Ghana. Dr. Seyram Kuma believes that with the recent fluctuation in the Ghanaian economy, a digital means of transaction could stabilize the exacerbating economy. We have more in this report.
The recent Russian-Ukraine war has thrown many reviving economies around the globe into yet another brink of collapse. With the astronomical price increases in global commodities, a decentralized financial system is destined to revolutionize transactions and positively affect global economies. According to Dr. Seyram Kuma, speaking at a public lecture series by the Ghana Baptist University College, she explained Ghana's gradual transitioning into a digitalized economy provides a fertile ground for the cryptocurrency to be a legal tender.
Now, money is directed by software. So, the whole world economy is based on this global programmable money. So very soon, all the world will stop using cash and everything will be virtual. So if we start using cryptocurrencies now, it will help the country. And because of the value of cryptocurrencies, our country, we have the cedi is always depreciating against the dollar. So with these cryptocurrencies, now we don't have to deal with any fiat anymore. The value for all currencies in the world will be the same. So cryptocurrencies can help stabilize the Ghanaian economy.
The cryptocurrencies have long erupted debates on international platforms as emerging, accessible and useful financial tools. The digital currency researcher believes the adoption of a decentralized financial system could resuscitate and stabilize the country's economy. Despite its varied advantages, she forewarned the public against possible fraud.
People want to have cryptocurrency, and most of us don't understand how it works, how to even get it. So we have these scammers all around who are also taking people's money from them, causing problems in the system. So one of the disadvantages is lack of knowledge. You don't have knowledge about the whole cryptocurrency, how it works, how to get it, and how to even manage it if you have it as an asset. So I think there should be knowledge, a lot of lectures on cryptocurrency so that people will know and people will also be cautious.
The public lecture series was on the theme, The Future of Money, How Digital Revolution is Transforming Currencies. The lecture forms part of activities for the celebration of the GBUC 2022 week. For JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright-Kweku reporting.
And speaking of cryptocurrency, the Republic of Central Africa has become the very first country in Africa to issue out Bitcoin as its official currency. We'll see how that pans out. But of course, that's how we end Marketplace. I'm Charles Aite. I'll leave you with Fundit. Do enjoy.
Hello guys, you are once again welcome to Fundit with me, Dr. Thelma from the Desert Youth Services and Consultancy. Today, we're talking about spending time on a polished presentation. Remember that in our previous session, we talked about personalizing your pitch. Once you have a personalized pitch, it is important that you spend time on a polished presentation. Try as much as you can to get people who are knowledgeable in the area that you are trying to find investments for. And so get people who can give you good feedback, people who can give you good critique, and also help you with ideas and knowledge that you may need to help your pitch. It is always good to spend a lot of time on your presentation before you go before the investor. That way, you go with a lot of confidence, you know your facts, and you are able to deliver anytime you are called upon. Don't be in a hurry to pitch, but always make sure that you spend some time on your pitching before you go before your investors. Thank you for your time and see you in the next session.